totally turn my source off, but that's fine. Haha. Well, Daniel,
Welcome, everyone, to the green room.
green that is. I woke up to a tweet
Mm.
or a few
Oh,
from people I follow on Snapchat filters. Let's take a quick look at this. That's not it. There you go. Yes. How about that? We have some exciting ways of bringing more
hmm
fun individuality, maybe not individuality, depends on how many filters we have. But they're natively built in, or will be natively built in and available as a video effect within Microsoft Teams. And Daniel, I clicked on through just to learn a bit more about this.
hmm
What are your thoughts about like we've got now all sorts of kind of options about changing how we look from just being a video feed to something else.
hmm Yeah, and I will actually say, when you said maybe or maybe not individuality, I think it is individuality, since it will be you, no matter,
True.
if there's only one of these kind of filters, these lenses, as it were. I feel like, for those meetings, and we have these meetings at my organization as well, which is the having fun meetings where you get together and have a little fun, and I think it's great. It now, if this makes its way into regular meetings, I'm going to have a problem with it. But for those kind of situations where it makes sense, have a little fun for sure.
I, it's a select number of filters from the Snap filter. So it must
Mm.
be some kind of partnership here between Microsoft and Snap. Um, and let's see, 3 by 6, 7, 8. Oh, yeah. So 24, 25-ish filters.
hmm
Um, and yeah, look, I think if you're going to have like a quiz night or some kind of
hmm
fun team meeting, maybe everyone on the sloth team could be, using the sloth filter or lens rather.
hmm
That would be interesting.
Yep. It is interesting. I will say that I'm in my mind when I saw this, I was like, okay, cool. And I just explained how, yes, this could be used and be fun in certain
Mm.
situations, but I'm also going to put it in the category of avatars. For me, for people that are, and Andy Honeycutt in the chat room hit it right on, made me laugh. If you remember, during the pandemic, it became this big thing where there was this court proceeding, and a lawyer
Oh
was
yeah.
on, and he had a Snapchat
Yes.
filter that was a cat.
Yes,
And
Judge. I'm not. I'm
Judge,
not a cat.
I'm not a cat. Anyway, makes me laugh.
Yeah, it was
So
amazing.
it's going to put me, in that kind of group. I personally feel like, for like avatars for teams, I kind of feel like it's a exceptional thing, meaning it's not norm. It shouldn't be in the normal way of doing things. But
Mm.
again, that's my personal opinion. But hey, I'm a co-host, so I can share my personal opinion, right?
You can, and you can do it wearing a sloth if you want
Right,
next time.
right.
It's totally over to you. Anyway, let's talk more about that and other stuff on the show. Let's go. What? No, no filter, Daniel. No filter.
Nope.
A bit like how you talk sometimes. Whoa.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to what could be the last episode of 365 Message Center Show, because I may slap Daryl. Thank you for joining us for episode 280. We're just having a little fun because in the green room we were just talking about the Snapchat lenses that are coming to Microsoft Teams. So we're just having a little fun with that. So hello everyone. This is another episode. We talked about this before. That
was not a filter.
Every once in a while, episodes are sponsored by Microsoft Teams because we get lots of updates. But we've got some really exciting Teams updates to talk about today, along with some other ones. So don't freak out. It's not just Teams today, but one of the most I guess the biggest pain points I have with meetings, not Teams meetings, but meetings in general, I think Teams is really hitting it hard trying to solve that problem. And I feel like it's just for me. So I appreciate it. So we're going to talk about it today. So fairly exciting. Daryl, how are you, sir?
Yeah.
You're in a playful mode, it seems.
I've just finished the coffee. I've had a good long weekend here in New Zealand or the Southern Hemisphere. We have Good Friday and Easter Monday. So, yeah, I felt like I've had 4 days of holiday, a bit of paddleboarding, some rubbish weather, some good weather, some tornadoes. No, really. Sometimes these things they pop out of the sky and wreak havoc, even in Auckland. Yeah.
Interesting. So in Auckland, is it more like we'll get it. I don't think we have time to jump into weather and being meteorologists here, but as an island, it seems kind of interesting to have tornadoes for me. But
it's generally water spouts and
Yeah,
it's thunderstorm related and updrafts, of course. Sure. But yeah. There's a song written about us by a group called Crowded House called 4 Seasons in One Day.
Okay.
That's us.
So are you going to hum a few bars for us? Or no, please
maybe
don't.
later.
Okay,
maybe
gotcha.
as we ease out at the end of the show.
Right. So how about we start off the episode with speaking about the aforementioned Microsoft Teams, but maybe talking mobile a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that. Once I find it, there it is. Very good. There are some changes coming to Teams Mobile, and it is, I would say, a significant graphical UI change, but functionally, it's okay. It's okay. Calm down. We're good. It's about chat details and being able to find some of the different things we might see on chat. So this is Teams Mobile Chat Details Update MC537952. It is a change in the UI. Let's have a quick look at it. The before and after. We have, first of all, look, I think we should do this full screen, Daniel, just to do it justice. The before and after. If you were to chat with yourself, because sometimes we do. Message to self. I need to do that. We have the current experience where we can pin a chat to ourselves and we can find stuff in chat. But this change is going to present apps and files differently, and bringing it all together on one page and starting to move those buttons and switches and things just below your profile photo. So we'll see a pattern here as we go down to another view of this. This one is a group chat. Today, group chats, we have a name, we can mute the chat, which sometimes we really have to. The members of the chat, and the files would appear in a files tab and the apps in an app tab. But now it's being, again, all brought together with the team. You can find, mute, and pin just below. You've got your roster of people that are part of the group chat, and then your files and apps below that with a see all button. It looks like it's only going to display 2, and if you want to see more files that might have been shared in the chat as attachments, then you'll hit see all and go and have a look at that. The final view of that, I don't think there's too much more variety here. What was this one? This is just the one-on-one chat. Yeah. So one-on-one chat with one person, same kind of pattern. You get the deal. Daniel, I like this new layout because it does simplify how we engage with it. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the new look of it and everything together. I don't know that I'm going to like removing those files and apps tabs. More importantly, the files tab, to then bring it to this experience and then have to click, hit the more or see all to see, because it now we're only seeing mock-ups here, but we're only what we're seeing here is just two files. Well, what if we share four? Now I've got to hit the yet another link to show that fourth file in that group chat. So we'll see how it is, and I'm sure they'll, if it's a problem or if there's some rub, we'll see some improvement there. But I do like to see being able to see who's in it in the chat, be able to get to the profile card very easily there. I really do like that improvement for sure.
I think it actually looks a bit like how they've switched things around on the search button in Outlook, and so it's got more of a feed feel to it. No, not really. No, not feed. I would say just sort of categorized.
Right.
And trying to get away from having to scroll stuff. So that first experience is, here's top level. If you want to see more, click into the next area where you might scroll. Yeah. But that, I think we wanted to raise your attention to that, especially people on service desks and the like. If you get calls to say, hey, where did my files go? Or, hey, how do I mute this chat? There it is. It's a change.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's going to happen rolling out mid-May for targeted release. Mid-April, rather. Standard release mid-April to mid-May, and GCCI, DoD, late May.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, the next three that we're going to cover
Yes.
are really the headline of the show. We had to put them together, didn't we, Daniel?
We did, because there's kind of a flow through it. But before we start adding more value, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. Hit the like, the thumbs up button, or give us a 5-star rating in the podcast. Help us out. Share it on socials. We are at 365MCS everywhere. So just tag us at 365MCS. And we'd love to help promote you as well. So go ahead and share this episode out right now. Go ahead. It's fun. We'll wait around, or maybe you could hit pause. I don't know. So everyone else can get some value out of this and jump in as well. So yes, the next three kind of flow together. And so we wanted to talk to them together. So the first one up is the collaborative meeting notes. This is MC 538385. Now, at the top of the show, I talked about Microsoft seems to be addressing one of my biggest pain points, which is in any meeting, whether it's a Teams meeting or in-person meeting, it does not matter, is notes. What was talked about and what was decided, and what are the tasks that are coming from that meeting. And so that, because tomorrow or even an hour later, it can be difficult to remember exactly what was said and what was done. And it's also perspectives. I can hear one thing, but someone else could hear a different thing. So if I write it, I'm the one that's taking notes. I have the power to dictate the tone of the way the meeting happened. Well, what this is doing is bringing the meeting notes taking together into a collaborative experience in Teams. So when you're in a meeting, there's going to be a notes button that you'll be able to click. And there will be a space, and you can have things like agenda, although I'm not thinking that's going to be, I won't be using that very often because I do agenda in the meeting invite. But you can have that there. You can take all your meeting notes and have your tasks and assign those tasks. But it's all going to be right there while you're meeting. So you can see what people are saying was said, right? Meaning, we've decided to go in this direction. And as long as, I look at that and go, wait a minute, we didn't decide that. Then, that's the time where I can bring that up and say, hey, this is what we're talking about, and make sure we're all on the same page. So, Daryl, what do you think about this? Is this for you, like it is for me, something that is really hitting a major pain point for meetings in general for you?
Yeah, yeah, and it's been a while coming. We've seen it in various different flavors. But I know that it's one powered by Loop. It is going to be something that you can add before a meeting. But what I like to see here is that it's also something that you can add during a meeting. So if you didn't think of taking notes together, there is that notes button which you can just add and trigger it off. The Yeah, I'm with you in terms of the agenda. Like, I would still put it in a meeting because I want to let people know why and what they should bring value for. But I think I'd get into the habit of adding the meeting notes to the meeting invite beforehand. So we don't see that in this message or screenshot, but I expect that there will be something we can trigger off and add it to the meeting ahead of time.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
so. And I feel like you've just added yet another task for me before a meeting even starts, is that I have to now set up the meeting notes and get some structure. However, I think if it works for your team, that might pay it forward, way more, right? It might be, you might get a lot of improvement and production gain by just doing that simple task of setting it up before than doing it during the meeting. So
hmm.
I for one, am going to use this again. I think the meeting notes functionality is making sure everyone's on the same page and doing it right there so we can all see what's going on. I think it was going to be so crucial. And it has been crucial, and we spend so much time doing recaps at end of the meetings. Okay, everyone, here's what we talked about and what was decided. Instead of taking that time, it's everyone look at the meeting notes and task, and I'll get to that in a second, and make sure, it's right. Done. Like,
Yeah.
that's what, so don't spend that time at the very end. You can just spend that time saying, hey, make sure you do this because this is the notes, the official notes. And the task, Daryl, how do you, since this is a loop component, how's that going to work really so I create a task here for, 3 or 4 people or two, it doesn't matter, but we create tasks here. Can we assign it? And how do you think that's going to work?
Yeah, that's absolutely the goal for tasks. If you have played a bit with Loop already, maybe used it in this very scenario, when you add a task list, you get 3 basic columns. What's the task? Who is it assigned to? What's the due date? And something kind of magical has happened since the release of the Loop app, which not many people realize because it's not clear within the experience. But even here, when you add follow-up tasks and you assign them to people, there's going to be a plan created in the background. It's a special kind of plan. It's not connected to an Office 365 group. It's just connected to this meeting and this Loop document in the background. Assign tasks and you'll actually be able to manage them from Planner and your assigned tasks smart list, or assigned to me smart list.
Yeah. So the other screenshot that's shown here, and we'll move on to the second update that kind of plays into this, or grows this meeting experience, but shows when you go to the details, you're going to see that loop component afterwards, right? So you can go to the details and see what was, that component. If you'll notice above this is that agenda. And what I normally use, right? You put the meeting information in there and what it was about. So that's why I was saying this is kind of a little bit funky, that I would rather teams be a little bit intelligent and say, oh, you've put a heading of agenda, or you have a bulleted list in the body of your meeting invite. Maybe I automatically pull that into a loop agenda. I don't know. So
Sounds like a great premium feature, Daniel.
that does. It certainly does. But so you're going to be able to get to this. I like this, and what you're talking about with the plan, the tasks, is really, I think, pretty crucial for meetings and making them more intelligent. And that recap for a meeting, that's
That's something too.
Yeah.
Definitely. With this collaborative notes, when are we likely to see that?
Yeah, it's going to be rolling out late April for preview release, and then standard release, it's late May, expected to be completed by late June.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing I say about this too, because Loop is just within your organization, this feature is only going to be available within your org. So if you've got guests, you're not going to be able to add meeting notes like this, I believe. Doesn't actually talk about it here, does it? No.
It says it will remain
No.
accessible for all participants in the Teams calendar meeting details page. So
Well,
that's what it
yeah.
says. It says
Yeah,
all
okay.
participants, but is it really?
Yeah.
Because you can't get to that information, right? From
No,
if
not
you're not if you're
externally.
external. So
Yeah, and that would be, if that is the case, then this is secretly quite a big announcement. It would mean that loops are now available from people's OneDrives if you've got your settings set up to support that for your organizational sharing. Interesting.
but it's I don't know. I don't know if that's saying that or
Daryl
not. So
Daniel, uncovering the news. Let's move on to the next one in this series, meeting recap. So you can see why we flowed from taking those collaborative notes, maybe even adding it before your meeting invite, or as part of your meeting invite. Now you've got to the end of the meeting, you want to be able to, find all of that stuff easily and get a recap. And so the enhancements MC538726 talk about that. The meeting recap is, we currently have a recording. We currently have a transcript. The contents, that's like the attachments that might have been added to the meeting. But I actually believe, Daniel, this is also when someone presents a PowerPoint. Like it says here, PowerPoint Live. If you've presented that, then it's going to be attached to it. And if anyone adds something as an attachment in the chat, then I believe this is also sent files in the meeting chat will also be listed there as content along with an attendance report. But here it is, your manual meeting notes that we just talked about, manual notes if added, will be part of that recap. So what does this look like? Let's just full screen this so everyone can see it better. Kind of better. Much better. So we have our friendly group of people, and there you go, our recap. Which, this is interesting, Daniel. So while we're recapping, we've got the meeting notes that we've taken during the meeting, and the agenda has. We crossed off all the items in our agenda, all two of them.
all two of them.
It was important. We got through the background and we progressed the discussion.
Well, but you were kind of circling. There's people active in the meeting, or in the component right now.
Yes, in the meeting recap notes or meeting notes. So that's cool. That means that you can see who's actually trying to catch up with the meeting. Maybe they're adding a few other notes and thoughts to it, which
Maybe.
that's interesting in itself. Do you think? People do this anyway. Where you've taken notes during a meeting. Maybe you're watching the recording back and you're using another one of the features in this, which is the transcript, and being able to jump to that position in the recording.
Yeah.
And you might improve those notes.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. And one thing I'll say about this is the landing page, kind of that recap that I feel like we've been promised for a while for meetings. There was a lot of talk, it seems like, about an experience of after the meeting experience that brought everything together. This is it. We've been talking about it for a while, but I kind of feel like, and this is my hypothesis, and it may be totally wrong, okay? But my hypothesis is that Loop was a very important component to that, and they couldn't do it yet. And so that's
Yeah.
why we're now getting this recap, because we have that loop capability. But it brings, just like you said, the content, the transcript, the video, and the notes that were taught, those collaborative notes that were taken during the meeting, all in one place, so that you're not watching the video and going, oh, I need to go, off to and open up another window to look at the transcript, or to look at the content, or it's all in one place, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, and it's that recap tab. So that's going to be quite a rich experience within Teams to take advantage of. I mean, I do think I'll be using the transcript search a bit more in this
Absolutely.
way.
Instead of
So
Control
that if
F.
there's, yeah. And I know, like, it does have a,
Yeah.
exactly.
But so one question you had, Daryl, even is, how does this all play into reoccurring meetings? What
Yeah.
what is
Great
that
question.
experience like, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, a recurring meeting today feels like it's a single instance thing where you create that meeting and you keep coming back to it. I know that chat continues, that's for sure. Maybe I chose to miss a recurring meeting this week, but I'll certainly go back and see all the chat that might have been added and that the
Yeah.
meeting was still held. But your meeting notes, if we add notes or the recap, how does the recap, does it sort of stop and then restart again further down, or I
Well,
forget, Daniel, like what does meeting recordings look like in a recurring meeting?
yeah, and well, here, what I'm thinking the difference is that meeting notes, that collaborative notes, is not the chat, right? We still have the chat tab, right, that we can go to, and so what we were hypothesizing about, and what Daryl is highlighting in the video here, is a drop down for the instance, so that you could see the recap for which instance that you saw, or that you missed, or you want to look at. So what that tells me is there's a loop component per instance of every reoccurring meeting.
And that means
Yeah.
too that content
Which
will,
makes sense.
will
I mean,
change. I don't know. Will be interesting to see what they do with chat, whether it is just the stream of consciousness or whether you're going to get, chunks of the chat highlighted based on the meeting that you choose. But the recap at least, it wasn't kind
Yeah.
of really obvious, but that's a drop down box, that's for sure.
yeah, for sure. Now, you know what I would like, Daryl?
What?
I would like just a little bit more, because I talked about earlier about being more intelligent. Can we bring some AI into this meeting recap experience? And I'm willing to even pay a little bit more for it. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, was that a good lead in, or
That's
no?
a great lead in. That's a
Okay.
great lead in. I'm just
Okay.
waiting for my machine to catch up.
I'm just making sure, I don't want anybody to get mad at
Page
me for having a
unresponsive.
bad lead in. But this one is the next one we're going to talk about is Microsoft Teams Intelligent Meeting Recap. And Daryl's going to bring this up here in a second. This is just building upon this last one we were talking about, really. And it is bringing intelligence, that artificial intelligence, into our recap to give us more. So Microsoft Teams Intelligent Meeting Recap Premium, MC537956. This is, and if you look at the screenshot, it's similar to what we were just talking about, which is this meeting recap experience that has the recording, it has the content that was shared during the meeting, it has those collaborative notes that were taken during the meeting, and it has the transcript. It also has some extra stuff. So one thing that we've seen before and been highlighted is on the bottom left, this speaker's timeline, showing when different people in the meeting talked and were engaged in the meeting with conversation. So that's great. We also have that topics. That's something that we've kind of brought up before and discussed, I think, when we did the live reaction to the announcements that was made of hey, we can bring topics in as part of that. And then when we go over to the right-hand side of the recap, the first thing is notes, that collaborative notes experience. Great. We already talked about it. But then we have AI notes. And these are, this is Microsoft's AI going in and saying, here's some suggested notes from the meeting. Things that maybe you want to add to the notes, to the meeting notes, as well as suggested tasks. Saying, if I said, oh, I'll follow up with Daryl on that next week. Well, if no one captured that as a task, AI, if they captures that and says, oh, hey, Daniel said he'd follow up, then that would be a great one, to add as part of your tasks. So I'm excited about this. I think the one in something that Daryl, you and I discussed previously is with any of this stuff, Copilot, any of the AI stuff going on, I think we're in this stage, this life of the lifespan that, we're not going to 100% say, oh, those are the meeting notes. Those are the tasks. I'm just going to heavily rely on that. I'm going to double check it. Right, Daryl? I'm going to check what's being said and captured by AI.
Mm-hmm. I think, and this is something I hadn't noticed earlier till we zoomed on in, but over on the timeline as well, you can see little icons
Chapters.
To say, hey, there was someone that was added at that point during the meeting, and then there's an at mention. And so that's an at mention of you. It has picked up that you've been mentioned in the meeting, and you can use a tab to zoom ahead to that. Now, you would expect if you have been mentioned, you probably want to check out and see where you were mentioned and what was said, or recall what was said to you and about you. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, we're going to have to take all those kinds of clues and not just stop there, but think, okay, is there anything missing in this? Go back and check those notes that were manually taken and see if someone has added something there. And, maybe even skip ahead and see certain topics that were talked about and people that did talk at that time.
Yeah, and it is not a, let's make sure everyone understands what I'm saying, and I think what Daryl is saying here is this is a great feature. Yes, it's premium and you got to pay extra. Okay, people? So let's make sure we call that out. But it is a premium feature, meaning we are getting some extra really cool stuff here. It is not, though, something you just say, well, I pay for it and I'm just going to let it generate all the notes and all the tasks can be done with it. It is something that will help you. And anything that saves me time and helps me address, again, one of the huge pain points of meetings for me, which is notes and task and understanding what was said and being able to go back a week later, a month later, 6 months later and go, what was said? What did we decide then? And, because this can be, I was just in a meeting today. Oh, we met with them 4 months ago and I can't remember exactly what was said about this or that. Oh, here's the recording. So now we all got to sit down and watch a hour-long meeting to try to figure out what was said, what was decided, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't it be great to have some not only collaborative notes, but also AI notes that helps us along the way?
Actually, you've triggered something else about this experience, which we still have to consider. And maybe some orgs have taken a step already to get around this. But remember, recordings do expire. They auto-expire. And they seem to be quite crucial to this experience in terms of timeline and who was mentioned where and using the transcript to jump back to it. So you'll want to keep an eye out for meetings that are important. And if you're a organizer of meetings, that you might go and change the expiry on this meeting before you have to face that warning of your meeting is about to expire.
Yeah.
They should probably add something to this recap area here, hey, like
I agree.
Expiry date.
Or change the expiry date and show you what it is. Right up the top. This recap or this recording will be expired. What is going to expire? Is it just the video? Will the AI notes also expire? I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe they will because the content's going to be removed. Who knows? I would doubt it. But anyway, so it'd be interesting. I think, again, we'll see some enhancements here.
Certainly.
Certainly. So, Daryl, can we quickly talk a little bit about a little bit more of a kind of an IT pro thing of Teams app usage?
Yeah. This is an interesting one. It's Admin Center Teams apps usage tracking will soon be available within usage reports. This is MC 538387. It means that we'll be able to track the usage of apps from a team perspective and also an individual perspective. Now, the message has a brief description of what it is. Monitor any active or blocked apps. It will include usage data for first-party, third-party store apps, third-party tenant apps, etc. It doesn't seem like it's that exciting, but flick on through to additional information and you'll start to sort of think, okay, that means that I can see how active an app is that I might have published. And maybe you're interested in the uptake or adoption of a specific app. I mean, I could give like the Viva Connections app, for example. How many people are actually visiting and using it? So you could go through and check that out over, it looks to be up to 180 days. And you can see that from a number of different places. There's a CSV report that you can put out there too. We called out that there was... it's all good to be able to see an app ID, a GUID, but the app name is probably more important.
Yeah.
Let's just bump that column up to near the top. But yeah, that's going to be useful. So that is rolling out in mid-April. Soonish.
Yeah, soonish. And that's first party, like you were just talking about Viva Connections, but it's third party too, right? So
yeah, that's right. And it said tenant installed apps as well. So if you've developed something and would it cover Power Apps? Probably would.
Yeah, if it's a Teams app, absolutely.
Yep. All right. And lastly, Daniel, tell us about this Power Platform change.
Yeah, Power Platform. Again, it's a little bit of an IT pro, but it really applies to a lot of people. So this is MC. I'm saying it really slowly so Daryl can type it. MC 538688.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. All right, so this is Power Platform Admin Center, automatic deletion of inactive developer environments. So what happens is when you have developers creating these, or people creating these development environments in your organization to do things, right? Do some development and test things out. Well, they get left behind kind of often. And so what's going to happen is that after 90 days of inactivity, Microsoft is going to disable those environments. And what is a definition of inactivity, you ask? Well, they actually have a nice helpful link there, so you can click into that if you'd like to read more. But then after that 90 days, then Microsoft is going to delete. Microsoft will then delete the environment after 90 days, and once it's been disabled for 30. So 90 days of inactivity. Okay, we're going to disable it, and then 30 days later, Microsoft's going to delete it unless action is taken by administrators. So this is something that is rolling out mid-April. So coming up really, really soon, and they're rolling it out by region, and will be worldwide by end of May. So I think it's just something to keep in mind, and making sure that if you are an admin, you're keeping track of this, because just because it's inactive doesn't mean it needs to be deleted sometimes. Okay, so you don't want angry users.
No.
Hopefully.
Yeah, when things go missing. Yeah, we get plenty of warnings, so that is good.
Indeed.
But that, sir, was the show.
Yes, thank you so much and we had some great chatting going on in the chat room. Thank you so much for those that have joined live, but also for those that come in and drop in comments to the podcast afterwards. We'd love seeing those comments and having that interaction. Make sure you share the episode out, please. at 365MCS on Twitter and Insta and Facebook and all the places, TikTok and everywhere. We are there.
Mastodon.
No, but we are on LinkedIn. So go ahead and share us out. We'd love to engage with you there and get more people watching. Thank you so much for being here and for participating in this whole worldwide effort to help stay educated and stay up to date with changes.
See you again next week. Bye for now.